Welcome to Capital City News, your source for staying informed and engaged with Salt Lake City government. I'm your host, Brian Young with Salt Lake City TV. On our episode this week, I spoke to Tony Gliot, the city's urban forester, about watering trees in this hot, dry season. Our History Minute is about the Midsummer Storytelling Festival that used to be held at Liberty Park. Before we get to those, we're going to take a look back, a look ahead, and our road construction update. But there's not going to be a legislative update this week. The council has some time off for the summer.
In order to protect Salt Lake's air quality and keep our community safe from the danger of fires during our ongoing drought, Salt Lake City hosted a laser light show at Jordan Park for the enjoyment of city residents to celebrate Independence Day. Another laser light show will be held July 23rd at Liberty Park to celebrate Pioneer Day. To learn more about fireworks restrictions and fire safety, please visit slc.gov/fire/fireworks. In Salt Lake City's hot and dry climate, trees need to have supplemental watering to survive. It is the responsibility of the adjacent property owner to water trees in the park strip. Salt Lake City Urban Forestry provides a watering bag with each newly planted tree. If you need any help figuring out tree watering and other ways to help with water conservation, visit the city's website for ideas. The City Council is coming to Salt Lake City's West Side neighborhoods. The City Council will host its July 19th meeting at the Sorensen Center in District 2. If you've never participated in a City Council meeting in person, we invite you to join us. Meeting in a new location is our way to reach out more to communities and neighborhoods so every resident has easy access to our meetings, has a chance to get familiar with our discussions, and knows that we want to hear your voice. The 2 p.m. work session and 7 p.m. formal meeting are scheduled to take place at the Sorensen Unity Center in District 2. Spanish and ASL translators will be available. Information on how to join council meetings online or by phone is added to the website at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. Public comment is always welcome via mail, email, or the 24-hour phone comment line at 801-535-7654.
It's time for the road construction update, where we're going to take a look at the 300 North pedestrian bridge and updates to 300 West.
A new walking and bicycling bridge over the railroad tracks at 300 North and approximately 500 West is under construction. Crews are currently doing work for the installation of elevators. The sidewalk on the north side of 300 North will remain open throughout the project, except when the bridge is set upon the elevator towers. Those walking and bicycling are able to travel along 300 North at 500 West, but only on the north side of the road. For your safety, please do not use the sidewalk on the south side of 300 North in the construction zone. Use caution as you approach and cross the railroad tracks on the north side of 300 North. As our construction season pushes on, we're asking the Salt Lake City community to support the small businesses along 300 West. When you support these businesses, take a photo, tag at SLC.gov, and use #SupportLocalSLC22. At the end of each month, we will pick one of those posts that people have tagged us in and give away one of our exclusive Salt Lake City flag hats. 300 West has undergone changes as the street transforms. Traffic from 1300 South to 900 South has shifted to the east side of the road. This traffic pattern will remain throughout the month as crews prepare this area for paving. Brooklyn Avenue closed on Wednesday, July 6th and will reopen approximately Wednesday, July 20th as crews get to work there.
That's it for this road construction update. Remember to keep track of these or any other projects going on in the city. Visit slc.gov/construction. For our interview this week, I spoke with Tony Gliot, the city's urban forester. He gave us a demonstration on how to properly water your trees in this hot, dry season.
Trees have always been extremely important for Salt Lake City. From the initial days of its founding, residents of this area realized that trees were going to help make it a more livable place to be. And that's something that hasn't changed today. So these days we're planting 2,000 trees every year to make sure that our urban forest is growing rather than getting smaller in a time when we need it most. Any resident in Salt Lake City that has park strip space along their street that's big enough to accommodate a tree can get one through the city's urban forestry division. they simply need to reach out to us and request a tree. And if we verify that there is enough space, then we'll plant a new tree there for you, usually within the next planting season. And all that the resident has to do from that point on is make sure that these guys get enough water to thrive. It's important to note that these bags are not intended to be your sole water source for your tree. Your sole water source should either be a lawn irrigation system that's dialed in for to provide the adequate water to a tree, or what we like as arborists, we like the old-fashioned hose method, because this way we could turn this hose on, let it water for 5 minutes, 3 times a week, and then at the very end of that we'll fill our bag, and that bag will keep the area around there wet until the next time you water a tree. Here we are. I often tell people, bring your hose out there, put on your favorite song, and let that song play, and when that song's over, it's time to fill your water bag or move on to a second tree if you're fortunate enough to have one of those. But yeah, so we've been watering this tree about a minute, and you'll see that we're not losing any water into the gutter or anything like that right now. It's all going right into the soil and right into that mulch, which is exactly where we want it. What we're doing here, 15 gallons, 3 times a week of deep watering for these trees is just what they need. And by doing that, we're making sure that we're not wasting water, because if you give the tree more water that it's going to use, then you've wasted that water. The water goes, into the ground or down the gutter or wherever, and there's just no need to do that. Trees are very efficient. They're very tolerant of difficult growing conditions. A little bit of water is all they need. And pay attention to the tree. If it's starting to look wilted and you haven't watered in a while, you want to get out there and make sure you get some, and then see how that changes the tree's look over the course of a couple of days. This forest that we have is their forest. It's a forest that's been grown by people. And if we want to continue to get the benefits of shade and better air quality, then 5 minutes, 3 times a week makes all the difference in the world. Trees are actually very efficient at using water, much more efficient than we are. And while it's definitely the case in our climate that our trees need supplemental watering, the cost, both in terms of time and in terms of resource dollars, is very reasonable. So we tell people that in the hottest months of the year, you want to water your tree for 5 minutes with a hose 3 times a week. That, in terms of money, the cost of water equates to less than $4 for the whole year of watering. So it's a good value, and what we get in return is cleaner air, more fresh air, and cooler neighborhood temperatures, which is a great return on investment for $4. People can call the Urban Forestry office at 801-972-7818, or they can reach us through the city's website, that's slc.gov.
It's time again for the History Minute.
Born in 1885, Charlotte Stewart was a legend in Salt Lake City recreation, the first director of the Department of Recreation and Playgrounds. Part of her job was to make sure there was plenty of recreational programming across the city suitable for everyone. To this end, she created the Midsummer Storytelling Festival, held annually starting in 1923 in Liberty Park. Dozens of tents were scattered through the park, and storytellers of all persuasions would entertain kids as they walked from storyteller to storyteller. For audiences of all ages, Shakespeare comedies, abridged by a local U of U professor, were put on by kids to raucous applause. In 1923, it was Midsummer Night's Dream, in 1924, The Tempest, and in 1925, it was As You Like It. The festival was held for at least 15 years, but fizzled by the end of the 30s, despite its overwhelming popularity. Charlotte Stewart worked for the city for many years and went on to other responsibilities involving the school district and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She passed away in 1959 at the age of 74, an important part of Salt Lake City's history.
That's it for another episode of Capital City News. Remember, the best way to stay engaged is to stay informed. You can do that by following us on social media at slc.gov, subscribing to us on YouTube, or watching us on Channel 17. So reporting in from the Wasatch Hollow Preserve, I'm Brian Young.